It's your boy Freelancer Joe, and it is once again time for Drinks with Joe. Yes, the time of the week when we kick back, have a couple of, did I say week or drinks? The time of week where we kick back and have a couple of drinks. I don't like how that week and drinks thing kinda, they seem to sound the same. But anyway, we have those drinks, and we do a retrospective. Look back to see how the week went, what went right, what went wrong, and things that we were going to have to do and things that we should do to make things better. Because, as Freelancer Joe always says, if you want to get to a specific place, it helps to know where you've been. Let me bring up my notes real quick. And actually, you know what? I don't even need my notes to do this particular part, which is to pour that said drink. And also to ask, how are you all doing on this fine and wonderful and glorious Saturday afternoon? I took a look outside. The first Saturday of 2019. I hope your first Saturday of 2019 is going well. I hope your first week of 2019 has gone well, and I hope that the rest of 2019 goes well for you too. I think if you've been paying attention to my videos, you'll see that I didn't exactly start off 2019 with a bang. Unfortunate, but not all the years can start off great. I'm trying to think if I ever had any year that actually started off really, really fantastic. I can't say that I have, but then again, that could just be the human nature thing. We tend not to remember, believe it or not, most of the happy times. We remember really, really happy times, but the ones that kind of ingrain themselves into our psyche are the bad times. Now that makes sense from an evolutionary perspective, if you think about it. The whole point of remembering the bad times is so that you remember not to repeat those same experiences. That's why you tend to remember them. And I guess that, remembering the negative was much more effective than remembering the positive. And that also makes sense from an evolutionary perspective too, because if you're remembering the positive and you're always happy, then you will tend to get lax and sloppy. To be honest, I think the ideal human condition, if I would say, if this is always negative and this is always positive, I'm actually gonna say the ideal human condition is probably just slightly skewed to the negative. Believe it or not. I mean, you still want to slide up to the positive, because what's the point of having life if you can't enjoy it? Well, there is a point. But those are rare cases. Anyway, the reason is you still want to enjoy life because you need to have a reason to go on. But on the other hand, you still want to remain just slightly negative so that you'll always be able to seek out those opportunities to be happy. Well, that's just my own personal thought. Who knows? And I'm rambling without even having had this drink. Alright, now I have the excuse to ramble. And speaking of rambling, if you'll bear with me for a second, I need to label this Blu-ray disc. So I had mentioned this before that, I had Blu-ray discs, 50 giggers, that I was going to be backing up some of the media that I had done my digital conversions for. But then I changed my mind on that particular thing, and what I've decided to do, well, the reason I decided to do it is because I have also been using the same external hard drives I use for backing up my converted things, for also storing my Freelancer episodes. So these are the hard drives I use. I got two of these, 2 terabytes, which you'd think is sizable enough, but a month's worth of my videos is about 80 gigs. So I mean, we've got like 5 months, that's like 400 gigs. That's almost half a terabyte right there. So it takes up a lot of space. So what I've decided to do is, instead of backing up my episodes on those external discs, I'm going to back them up on the Blu-rays. Now, unfortunately, the caveat is that 1 month is about 80 gigs, give or take. Let's say anywhere from 70 to 80, and these are 50s. Well, they say 50, but they actually only hold, I can only burn about 45 to them. So yeah, it's a little hinky, ask me. So I have to actually split some things up I have to split it up. I actually have to split it up anyway into 2 parts, so 2 discs for each month. But, you know, it's not great, but it is what it is. I'm moving something here. So actually it's like 45.3 actually is, I want to say, the amount of space I can store on it. Which kind of sucks because like when I did my first burn, I split August into 2, part 1 and part 2, and that part 1 was 15 days and it was like 45.6. No, it was part 2 was 45.6. So I have to copy like the last day of August and put it in like the September disc. But anyway, whatever. It's highly unlikely that I'm going to actually access these things again, which is also another reason why I have it on these discs, because they're less easy to manage than, you know, using these. Actually, what a lot of people do is they set up their own home servers, home media servers, to host the things on, which is a really solid plan, because, you know, they can have it online at any time they want. They just access it from the network, play it whenever they want. The problem with having it in this form is that, well, it takes up much less space. Is that it's a lot harder to access. You can't really do it on the fly. But my whole point is not actually accessing these things, because another reason they just take up so much space and I don't watch them all that often. You don't really feel like sometimes just streaming or flipping through things to find something and getting up and putting it in a disc, and I don't really feel like digging through a bunch of folders to find what I'm looking for, or to find something to inspire me. Although I hear that there are also some pretty good servers that now will actually do recommendations, kind of like what Netflix or Amazon Prime does, which, I mean, that's pretty cool too, but I'm trying to cut down on the amount of space I take up, so getting more electronics is not the best idea. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just kind of enjoying that music. Well, what is that music actually? I want to say it's a Tango de la Noche. I wouldn't mind taking tango lessons one of these days. I wouldn't mind doing one of those spicy and passionate Latin dances with my honey bunny. We shall see. We shall see. Actually, to be completely honest, I had almost forgotten about recording this episode. I had. I'm really kind of embarrassed about that. So what happened? Well, kind of sounds like an excuse, which technically it is. Let's see how big is this. Yeah, October is 78 gigs. So what happened? Basically, it's just been, this is kind of an excuse to say it, but been having a tough time in Destiny 2. So Thursday, I tried to record an In the Bank episode. And it was going to be a good one. It was me firing up the Izanagi Forge for the first time and getting my first Izanagi weapon. And on the plus side, I actually did complete the Forge on my first try, and I did get my weapon. But halfway through recording, I lost the connection between my recording laptop and my Xbox. It's kind of ironic, really, that the whole point of these In the Bank episodes are to as emergencies in case I have trouble recording, and yet I had trouble recording the episodes that are meant for when I have trouble recording. So yeah, I guess that it kind of sucked, but I guess on the plus side I felt pretty good about actually completing that Forge. But then last night, Friday, I was like, oh, okay, you know, first night of the weekend, let me go do something. I don't expect I'll be able to complete it, but I expect that I'll be able to get a little bit further, and that was going after the Whisper of the Worm. And because the last time I went at it was when I was at max. It was when I was at 600 power level, and I still got burned down, but I got, I'm gonna say, the first room, second room, and got to the third room. So now I'm at 650. So I figure, okay, I should have a slightly easier time, you know, if I can at least get to the fourth room. All right, there's 5 rooms total once you get past the jumping puzzle. Not that the jumping part is, I've gotten any better at that. That's why I can't really say I'd expect to beat it. You should be able to clear that jumping part in like 5 minutes. And I think I got it around 8. It was kind of, when I cleared it, I was like, well, maybe my power level's high enough. If I can burn through enemies fast enough, I'll still be able to make it. Wasn't burning through the enemies. To be completely honest, I did not notice any difference at all, despite having this higher power level. Now I suspect it's because of the way Bungie has set up their power scaling, even though technically I think the recommended light level for that activity is like 380. It's like it scales based on your power level, and depending on the activity, they are either very generous with the scaling, or they're very very stringent with the scaling. And it looks like on this particular activity, they're very stringent. And it didn't help that earlier in the week I tried another activity I hadn't done before, and that one was only at 580, and it was still the exact same thing. Basically, I was getting burned down in 2 shots, which, when you consider that it's a room full of enemies and they're all shooting at you, because I was running the solo, yeah, I would get burned down pretty fast. But that was last night. Actually, I got so frustrated I turned it off. And then this morning, I tried an Ascendant Challenge, one I had done before, and it still felt like they were hitting harder. Actually, they felt like they were hitting harder than the last time I ran through it, which is really, really strange. I think Bungie changed some numbers on their back end to make things more challenging. And it was really frustrating. And then I got to the end, and I traded hits with the boss. I got him, which was good. Unfortunately, he got me, which was bad, because then I respawned completely out of the Ascendant Challenge, and that meant trying to run it again. And so I was so frustrated, I just turned it off again. So instead of doing things that I normally do on a Saturday, which would help me remember to record this particular episode, I was actually binge watching something on Netflix. I was watching Kuro Mukuro. It looks like a cool word to say, but it's actually pretty tricky to say. It's an anime series. It had actually been on my watch list for a long time now. I think I added it back when they first added the 7 Deadly Sins, actually. I'm not sure why I hadn't gotten around to watching it before, because I've been watching a lot of repeats before, so I don't know why I didn't pick up something new. Maybe I was a little concerned about binging, or I wasn't in the right mood to binge something like that. It's just because I can't say that I wasn't in the mood to binge, because I've binged plenty of other things since then. Yeah. But anyway, so that completely threw off all my entire routine. In fact, the only reason I remembered to record this Drinks with Joe episode was actually I came out to check the progress of the Blu-ray burns, the backups of my Freelancer and Gaming with Joe episodes and Drinks with Joe episodes. I mean, if I had not done that, I would have completely forgot to record this. And that would have to have relied on my In the Bank episodes, of which I still only have 2, because the Thursday episode I was not able to properly record. And then that would put me down to 1, and then I'd have to make sure that I record another one really soon. But I'm not sure when I'm going to get back into Destiny 2, because, like I said, I'm just really frustrated now at this point. Oh, but we are about at the 15-minute mark, and I have yet to do what I'm supposed to do, which is a retrospective of this week. So we'll break for an intermission, and we'll get back and hopefully get back on track in 10 seconds. Hope I see you then. And we are back. I was kind of looking up just to check to make sure that this was straight. I've noticed in a couple of episodes before this is straight. I try to check, but I figured the rest of me looks so good that it's okay if every now and then my clothes are a little off. I hope you like that meme. Okay, now I've completely forgotten what that meme was. No, okay, now I remember what that meme was. Yeah, that's how I felt a lot this entire week. Especially at the start of it, and I started to feel better on Thursday and Friday, and then this morning was a little now I'm still a little so I'm gonna have to try and force positive vibes to me so that I can kind of start getting more momentum in 2019. Now on the plus side, and now we're gonna go into things I should be talking about. At least training went well. This was the first week back on training after my rest cycle, and overall it was actually very, very good. This morning I had regained. No, I want to say yeah, I had removed about 75% of the weight that I had gained during my week off, which is substantial. Based on those numbers, it's possible, assuming I control myself starting tomorrow and the rest of the week, that I could be back to where I was by the end of next week. But I suspect I'll only get about halfway there. That's my guess. But even then, halfway there, that's still pretty good. Actually, I think I'm gonna do pretty well today. I hope. Maybe that's another reason why I almost forgot this episode, because I was thinking about waiting until like 11 before I broke my my fast. Before I broke my fast, but no, I kicked it in early, because I kicked it right in after that Destiny Ascendant Challenge disappointment. Yes. But other than that, so that's the dietary part and the weight part. From the physical side of things, strength, everything seemed pretty good. Strength was actually quite solid, and the biggest concern I had was my lower back, and it was holding up. So everything was going good until Friday and the deadlift day. So all the other exercises, I basically backed down about 50% of the weight from the, well, so I started the training cycle, the previous training cycle at a weight, and then I increased it to a certain point. So in that gain, for this first week, I backed everything down by about 50%. So I'm still ahead of where I was at the start of the last training cycle, but I'm not ahead of where I was at the end of the last training cycle. For the deadlift, it was actually, I only backed down about 20%, and that one I definitely felt the strength not being there, and yeah, the lower back is definitely not happy about it. Before, it would wait until Saturday for me to start to feel it, but nah, it started letting me know almost immediately. So I'm hoping with enough recovery today and stretching today, well, actually I'm not going to stretch today. Hopefully with enough recovery today and stretching during the week, that it'll be okay. And then by Friday, I should be good to go again. I think another part of it is simply that during the training week, I lost a lot of tightness in my core, the core abdominal area, and you really need to have a tight core for most of the exercises that I do. Now, because I backed down the weight enough on, say, the squats and the front squats, it wasn't so bad. But I still felt that they were putting a strain on the core. But on the deadlift, with how little I backed down the weight, yeah, I'm not sure if that was a mistake or not. See, at this point I'm going to be kind of stubborn about it, because if this is where I started, the start of the training cycle, I really don't want to back down again, you know? So we'll play it by ear. I suspect I'll be good. I mean, even if the back isn't fully recovered, so long as all the other muscles tighten up, it should be fine. Yeah. And I was actually so close to actually feeling like I was back at that tight core. I keep track of how tight my core is based on which notch I use on my training belt. And I had been working at, let's see, how do I count it? I count it by how many notches I have left to go. And I had one more notch to go. And then after that I would have to have gotten a new belt. That was before the rest week. When I resumed, it was 2. So I gained about probably, I want to say, half an inch to an inch. And that's kind of being optimistic, because I really suck in the gut when I put on the weight belt. And so, yeah, and I almost got it back down to that 1 on Friday, but I just couldn't quite suck it in enough, so the belt was on a little loose. And I think that might also have contributed to it. With the weaker core section and not the same amount of back support, that probably made things more difficult. Still, I have today to rest, and then I have the entire week of not actually doing the deadlift to rest for the deadlift, although I do the other things. Then, let me see, what do I do? Squat, shoulder press, front squat, and bench press. Really, it's only the front squat and the squat that were kind of the same muscles, so I should be able to recover by then. If not, well, I'll have to play it by ear. I mean, the biggest point for this training cycle, because there still might be that disruption, isn't so much about gaining strength, or even as it is about losing weight. It's actually about just not injuring myself. I don't plan on increasing the weights at all, actually, during the cycle, so hopefully that means I won't hurt myself. Okay, now then, work. Well, just like this was the first training week, this is also the first training week of 2019. This was the first work week of 2019. Although, granted, it wasn't a full week. Overall, I'm gonna say it was pretty good. Was it great? I mean, the commute was okay. Although, I felt like there were a few more hasty drivers than normal. Oh, I really shouldn't have done that. That was the wrong thing to do. That was quite foolish. And as for my current tasking, I'm feeling more confident about the solution. Although naturally, an hour before I left work on Friday, I came to the realization that I was actually a little, I wasn't quite fully grasping everything I needed to change. So there's still some questions I have to answer, but I think I can solve them by Monday, so that's good. Although, even once I have a grasp of the complete solution, it's still going to be a while before I get everything together. I figure I could have the bulk of the work done maybe by the end of the month. And then you probably give me a few weeks for getting the edge cases and smoothing it out. So overall, not much to change as far as work goes. I mean, I'm on the right path. You know, just show up and do my job. And hopefully I can last long enough until we switch work locations. As it looks like we'll be switching work locations near the end of March, I want to say. It's not going to do much for my schedule. I'll still have to do full days on Fridays. But it should make the commute a little bit better for me, I think. At the very least, it should shave off 15 minutes one way. Actually, if not more, maybe even, I want to say 20. So that actually will be pretty nice. Ah, that might be pretty good. So, you know, just knuckle up and deal with it. Yeah. Alright, and then the last subject, which really should be the first subject, which really should be the focus of these retrospectives, but, you know, I want to be personable and share with you, is the freelancer stuff. And if you've been watching the videos, I just continued the tech debt removal while complaining about being depressed / apathetic. Where am I at right now? If I remember correctly, I think my site is completely done. I think. Yeah. Oh yes. So all the templates are done. My customer site, prototype site is done. My site is done. But the one thing I want to change on it is I want to change the styles on the popovers a little bit. So what does that mean for next week? Well, tomorrow we'll finish just in the styles on my site. Check that in. And then we can move on to my demo site. That might take a little longer. That might actually take 2 or 3 episodes, because I hadn't cleaned up any of the other stuff in it before. But then after that, because that might not give me till Thursday. It might not even give me till Wednesday, if I'm honest. So after that, well, then I have the decision point. Do I continue doing this sort of thing? I mean, I could try adding that calendar thing to my own website. I was thinking about maybe creating some more templates. Well, the catch with that is, you see how much work it takes to keep me updated, right? So I don't know if that's the best idea. It might be better for me to refine the templates to make them like nice showpieces. And then from that, actually, honestly, search for work. Because that's the one thing I haven't been doing. I guess I've been trying to build a, well, I guess, at the most not positive, the most generous way to state things is that I've been building up a body of work that demonstrates what I can do and my abilities, as well as my personality, so you know who you're dealing with if you choose to work with me. But I haven't actually been actively and honestly seeking out work. Very much, there were a couple episodes, there was a span of Drinks with Joe episodes a while back where I noted that I was not having any good momentum and that I needed to address that. And then I stopped talking about that, probably because it was the holidays and I was using that as an excuse. But now it's 2019 and I really don't have that as an excuse anymore. I should have no excuse. Well, I do have another one in mind, which I still have yet to mention. Yeah. So, if I still want to know where I'm going, where I've been is the same place I've been for the past few months. Well, then I need to decide where to go next. Very good question indeed. Well, yeah, for now, we'll stick with what I think we'll do, and I'll have to give it some thought. And that's always my problem. Not always my problem, but that is, if there is one thing that consistently trips me up, is that a lot of people will act without thinking, and it's just fine if you are a very charming person because you can get away with it. But on the other hand, introverts such as myself, we tend to think without acting. And well, there's no way you're going to accomplish anything then. You're just kind of, you're still hoping to be charmed, but in a different way. Where in the other case, the charm asks for forgiveness. In my case, the charm asks for generosity and just good luck. And I believe I mentioned before that hoping for good luck is not a winning plan for Freelancer Joe. I used up all my luck when I was born with all this. Well, be that as it may, we are about at the 15-minute mark now of part 2, so I'm going to have to wrap this up for now. Thank you for joining me. Cool kid words about liking and subscribing, commenting, and suggesting. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of this Saturday afternoon and a wonderful rest of the weekend, and that you'll join me tomorrow as we resume our Freelancer episodes, and that until the next time you join me, I hope that you take care and God bless.